Hey everybody, what's going on? How are you doing? Welcome back to the stream. Hello! I'm just kind of trying to figure out what I want to work on. I have this dude that I had been working on. I actually have two versions of this guy. Did I delete the other one? Maybe it's not in this file. Oh, I think here it is. Let me see. Is it this? No, it's not. Anyway, I had worked up one that was pretty dumb, and yeah, I went over it and redid it with like a pencil brush. I don't know if you saw me post this guy up in like Instagram and stuff. So I was trying to do a better version of him. Let me see. I'll show you that process real quick. This is the kind of value render. I'm just doing this for Patreon, but I'll give you an idea of what I've kind of been up to with like this weird style. Let's see. So I don't know if you can really see that, but I'll get close. So this is using like a watercolor brush in Clip Studio. So I do like this super light sketch wash. I don't often do this one, but pretty much like, I don't know, 70% of the time I'll use Krita, and then for my sketch, and the other times I'll use either Photoshop or Clip Studio. So anyway, I started this one in Clip, and then I'll do like a layer on top just to kind of get a little bit tighter in my render of what I think it's going to be. And then I just refine from there, and I keep adding like deeper and deeper values to kind of build them up. So the idea being that this is loose and implied, but it's still like a decent amount of detail without it being very sharp, defined detail that I'm going to have to paint out. All right, so then after that, I go in with my pencil brush and I paint on top, or draw on top of it. Kind of just selecting around as if it's like a colored pencil. So this is just me drawing directly on top of it on another layer. And I just add in all the detail. And because I have the sketch beneath this one that's kind of all watercolory, I don't have to draw everything with the pencil brush. So I get this nice kind of selective detailed area, and I don't end up like overdrawing the whole thing, overworking it, you know? So then I take this step, which is the pencil over watercolor, and then I start to render on top in Krita. So that's what like this is right here. So you can see there's like a slight render to it. I didn't push it super far just because I wasn't like planning on doing this very polished finish thing. I just wanted to kind of get a feel for the style. And then I'll do a selective color layer and adjust all my values. But I find that it's a pretty cool balance between having things be drawn and rendered in like a painted style. I'm getting pretty into it right now, so I'll figure out where it goes, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of like a heads up of what I've been doing. But yeah, anyway, let's turn off that layer and I'll show you. Like, so I basically took at this stage, I took this thing and I turned it into a multiply layer and just added colors beneath it, and then started adjusting values and whatnot. And you know, I can change this to be whatever color I want, but for the sake of where I'm at in this process, so just kind of whatever, keeping it at this stage. Normally Kim would be here, but our son keeps getting out of bed. So we keep having to put him back in bed. Usually doesn't roll on this late. He's having a bit of a sleep regression. So we'll figure it out. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. I'm not even entirely sure I want to like paint this guy up during the stream. I just kind of wanted to look at it again and see where I left off. Mostly what I'm interested in doing at a stage like this is kind of getting rid of the super dark pencil lines. Because after doing some adjustments and turning that layer into a multiply layer and all that, I kind of blew out those values a bit, so it doesn't need to be that dark. You know, but whatever. If you were to actually draw something and then paint on top of it, you'd do this anyway, right? So who cares? Why complain about something that's so convenient? As always, if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to leave them in the chat and I will read them and we'll go through it all. But yeah. Let me see. I used to watch my live vids 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago. I've been doing them for a while now. I don't know how long it's been, a couple of years. But I mean, I've been live streaming, or, you know, I took a break for a while, but I was live streaming in whatever it was, like 2009, 2008. So I've been doing that forever. I was doing that shit before Twitch existed. Back on Ustream and livestream.com. The old days. I just pulled up like a creature concept just to kind of have something to look at. I'm not following it one for one. Oh yeah, it's good if you tag me in your questions, by the way. It's easier for me to see them from how far away I am from my laptop screen because my eyes fucking stink. Can I read them in Kim's? Can I read the comments in Kim's voice so it feels like she's here? She'll be here in a minute. Yeah, I used to do challenges and critiques and all that stuff. Those are the old days. I used to love doing that. And then work just became the number one. I mean, thankfully there's stuff like Patreon so that I can continue to do stuff like this. Dedicate time to it. But back then in like 2009, there wasn't any way to make money off of streaming. So I had no idea what to do to keep that going. And I felt really weird about charging anybody anything. I never felt like I was good enough to do that, so I just never did it. I have the monitor next to me, the baby monitor, so I can see into my son's room, and I see Kim trying to leave and tell our boy to stay in bed. It's just not working. He just keeps getting up. It's so frustrating having kids that just can't listen. You just have to be as patient as possible and just repeat yourself a billion times. So Mad Kuh says, I love art, but I don't really have an inspiration. I love Destiny and lore stuff like that, but I don't do it justice enough to finish a piece. Any advice on how to better understand yourself? That's an interesting question. Better understand yourself. I should just move this over here so I can actually read your comments. That's a tough one. Like I think if you see the picture in your mind of what you wish you could do, it's not so much understanding yourself as it is having the skill to execute the thing that you see in your mind. It's kind of like, I don't know, like once I saw people that could paint things directly out of their imaginations in person, it's almost like that feeling of I've talked about this in the past about like how when Tony Hawk did a 900 when I was a kid, it wasn't that like nobody was capable of doing 900s, it's that nobody had done it yet. And then, you know, like nowadays you see like 12-year-olds doing 900s. You know, I'll see like viral videos on Instagram or TikTok or something of like just little babies doing 900s on vert ramps. It's like, yeah, that was always possible. You just needed to see somebody do it to believe that you could do it. And I remember the first time I saw artists that could just draw plainly from their imagination and just create these very vivid, realistic things without any reference, I was shocked. And then I started to understand like, oh, if I worked really hard, I could maybe do that. Like if I really figured out how to best kind of like utilize that library in your brain, that I could maybe get to that point. So I just believed that it was possible, and then I just tried to do it every day until I could do it. But it takes, you know, takes like a million hours to do anything like that. Super complicated. But yeah, I think that if you see things in your head that like you wish you could do, but you know, it's just not coming about because of your skill level, then that's a skill problem, and you need to work on that part of yourself. Because if you know what you like and you know what you want to see yourself be able to create, it's like then you can do that thing. You just need to have the ability. Piotr, somebody that you would love to be able to paint like? Yeah. I mean, tell me about it. He's an incredible artist. I actually just found out that him and I are the same age and we were born on the same day. Isn't that weird? What are the odds? He's like somebody I talked to just randomly finding that out. It's like, I don't think I've ever met anybody that was born the same exact day as me. And we're the same age, let alone somebody who works in the same field as me, working on similar stuff. It's weird. Designer Dash, how many hours have you sunk into this character design so far? Oh, not many. I don't know. Maybe like 3 hours on this. Something like that. Riley asks, brother man, I'm having a hard time with backgrounds in comics. Have any tips to get better at this? I'm okay with the answer just being draw them a lot. Honestly, yeah, draw them a lot. Setting perspective's good. There's a lot of, if you're gonna get into doing a lot of comics, Riley, I would jump into Clip Studio and figure that out, because there's a whole set of tools within that program that make it infinitely easier to create comics. There's like perspective rulers and things that you can set up, and it's built around that kind of, you know, point of your work. It's like, are you creating comics? Clip Studio facilitates that. I feel like Photoshop, you're missing out on a bunch of things that make your life a whole lot easier that are in Clip. By the way, I don't know if Kim's actually going to join us. I think our son is giving her a harder time. So she just came in here and silently grabbed her laptop and went upstairs. Hey, thanks for the birthday wishes. Appreciate it. Jeremy Gordon asked, do you do challenges on the Patreon similar to the old Bloodsport challenges? If not, do you think you will eventually? Yeah, we usually do challenges every month. Then we have like a long review video, and we do a couple of them because, you know, there's usually a lot of submissions, so we end up doing a few live streams. But yeah, we actually skipped this month, but we're coming up on the next challenge. I just had way too much stuff to do. That's why the Patreon updates have been so limited this month. I've just kind of been doing like one a week and then a stream, where I usually try to do at least like 2 posts a week. But I honestly just haven't been able to. I mean, I can't wait to talk about all the things that have been happening, but I can't talk about it yet. So, tying up some of those things I got to do, and then we'll get back to the normal schedule. Challenges every month and everything else we're doing. Kim's back. I think she's gonna kill our son. Yes. I know. Do I know how to create 3D models in Unwrap UVs? I do not. I don't bother with that stuff. I just paint. Yeah, Riley, I would say like just watch some YouTube videos about Clip. Watch like best tips for comic creators for Clip Studio or whatever. You know, like there's a number of those. And there's so many features buried in Clip Studio that it's kind of like intimidating to, you know, find them organically. Like you really got to watch some videos to see what's the best stuff to utilize, because there really is like a shitload of stuff in there. And the new update's great, by the way. The Clip Studio version 2. Like, even if the only thing they did was that color blend mode that they have on the brushes, it's like that saves so much time for me, because one of the reasons I stopped using Clip Studio for my paintings, aside from the fact that I didn't enjoy the brush variety too much for the painted side, it's the color mixing. The color mixing was very kind of lacking. It was like if you blended 2 colors together, it just looked gray. So that's what was happening to me every time I did a painting in Clip. But now that problem's solved. Hey, Kim.
Hello.
Kim's here.
It's been a stressful couple of days, you guys.
Yeah, kids are going through all sorts of wild stuff. So
Hi, everybody.
being a parent's a crazy thing.
Yeah, it's been insane. I accidentally threw his octopus at him because we were in the dark and I couldn't see what I was doing, and I tried to throw it like onto his bed, and I didn't realize he was like already in the corner.
And he was just like, ah!
And he was like, "You hit me," and I was like, "I'm sorry. I'm so fed up right now, and I didn't even mean to do that." Did you read people saying happy birthday to you? Happy belated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with Clip Studio is like, yes, they just introduced that color mixing thing, but I mean, upgrading to 2.0 costs $20 if you already have like whatever, the $50 version of Clip Studio.
Oh, that's nice.
Do you know how much Photoshop costs every month?
That's crazy. That's like a really good price.
Yeah, it's like Photoshop's like $20 a month or whatever it actually costs. I don't know what the whole like Adobe suite is if you use everything. Like I don't do that. It's like, but yeah, it's a good deal for everything that Clip offers.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole thing of like the AI assisted shadows that they'll add to your drawings. Like I would never use that, but they're just adding so many weird things to it. But yeah, there's a bunch of cool features in Clip. Like they have within Clip Studio, you can load up a 3D form of a body just within the program, drop it onto your file, and then just kind of adjust it to the pose that you want and use it as a reference. And you can do that thing where you can basically scan a picture of your hand in real time and get a 3D model of a hand in the exact pose that you need. It's like, come on. Photoshop doesn't do that shit.
I was asking Dan if he was in here.
Oh. Very excited to play Diablo 4 tomorrow.
Yes, me too. And so Dave's birthday just passed. If you guys want a little story. Took him to dinner on Sunday. And I asked my mom to come over and just babysit, which, I mean, she's not really doing anything. Our kids are already in bed by the time we leave. And we went to this really nice, like, pop-up restaurant. They only do Sunday dinners, and it was like a tasting menu. It was very good.
Yeah, it was really good.
Very fancy. I made a fool of myself, and it was so funny. And it was one of the funniest. I don't think anyone said anything this funny to me in such a long time. But we were like, whatever, we're going out, date night, we're going to have a little bit of fun. We had a little bit of edibles, as you guys know.
Make the food taste really good.
Yeah, as you guys know, that has been, instead of alcohol, that's been my, like, little unwinding thing of choice right now.
Yeah, they call her edamame.
Anyway, I was laughing at way too much stuff, and the chef himself, he was like bringing over plates, and he sat us and everything. It's like very small, very intimate little restaurant, and it was like our 7th course already, and he came over and he was like, "Hi guys," or "Hey again," whatever, and then there was like too long of a beat, and I just went, "Hello."
But like a hello, like she was delayed and didn't realize how delayed she was.
And then that's not the part that made me laugh the hardest. I just was laughing at how delayed it was because I realized it. So I was like cracking up. I started crying because it was so dumb. And he's like sitting here trying to explain this like very fancy like Wagyu whatever with like this puree, this, that, and that, right? And I'm like crying, laughing, and he can't even get it out because I'm just laughing so hard I can't hear him. And he said, "I'm sorry to have embarrassed you." And then I lost it because I was like, I'm not embarrassed. I think this is hilarious. And I just thought it was really funny.
But what was crazy is like, so we get out of this restaurant, we're sitting in the car, and we're talking to Dan on the phone.
Oh my God.
And we're just like, we're still kind of going because we had edibles, we had the food, whatever, but it wasn't that much food because it's like a tasting menu.
Yeah.
And like, we're just sitting in our car. And then while we're in the middle of talking to Dan,
we're telling Dan this exact story, actually.
Yeah, this dude walks in front of our car as we're parked, and he touches the hood of our car, and he's wearing a V for Vendetta mask and a bulletproof vest. And he was just alone. And I was just staring at him like,
that happened
what?
Not even a week ago?
What is this?
That's so crazy that was just the beginning of this
I
week.
was like, is he a plant? Like, does he know I'm high? Like, why are you dressed like the V for Vendetta with a bulletproof vest on?
And Dan we're over here cracking up because we're like, what just happened? What did we just see? And Dan's like, you should probably call the cops. Probably.
Of course, Kim and I don't snitch, so we didn't.
Yeah, we don't want to end up in a ditch. Miss, I'm so sorry. You were just humiliated. And I was like, yeah, I know. He said sorry for embarrassing you. And I just thought that was so funny. And I was like, oh, I'm not embarrassed. I'm cracking up because it was so dumb what I just did. I thought it was so funny. But then he ended up coming back over and I was like, hey, I'm sorry. We're a little high. And then he's like, oh yeah, like I get it. I totally like to unwind and I don't like to smoke. I do edibles and blah blah blah. He was like telling us all about it. And so I was like, here, do you want one? So I just gave one to the chef. Here you go.
I didn't even tell you he was like telling that story to somebody in the kitchen when I went to the bathroom at that place.
He was telling them about how I just gave them an edible.
Yeah, and he went and I just said, "Yeah, sure," and he was doing like that laugh, and I was like, "Oh, I wish we didn't give him one."
Yeah, right. I've heard all people in like the food industry are like huge potheads. He was so happy to get that. But this is one of those fancy places where like you prepay when you make reservations and gratuities included in that. But they gave us like a little Venmo scan thing that said like, she's like, if you feel like the service was exceptional, feel free to tip more if you'd like, even though it's already included. It gets split between front of house and back of house. And I was so tempted just to like tip them $1 through Venmo and say like, you know how you can add a note and say like that edible was for everybody. Split that. That was our tip.
Yeah, it was fun though. It was a cool thing, and I mean honestly,
The food was really good.
The dude in the V for Vendetta mask with the bulletproof vest by himself was probably one of the most surreal things I've seen in a while. I was just in the wrong state of mind to see that. I was like, huh?
Yeah.
What
yeah,
is
that was crazy.
It was so weird.
Thank goodness our doors were locked.
I mean, thank goodness he didn't just shoot into the car.
True, huh?
I don't know what that dude was doing. It was so weird.
Oh, that was weird. That was fun though. Did you have a favorite? I think the salmon was my favorite. Remember when they came out with like the 3 little bites and you're like, whoa, half of the menu is already done? But it was just the snacks.
Yeah, the snacks part of the menu, and I thought it was everything. I was like, I don't know what's happening.
Magaler says, it's your edible ghost. He only appears when you are high.
Yeah, might as well. And then we went to Dave and Buster's. It was very exciting.
Played some skee ball.
I just like, anytime I'm gone like that, I'm just like, I just want to shoot zombies.
And play basketball.
That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
Shoot zombies and play basketball. That's what I signed up for.
That was fun though. Jazz McDaniel says, the Wolverine movie poster you made, was that used on a building or billboard at some point?
Yeah, it was used all around the world. It was the official poster for the IMAX release. So everywhere that Logan played in IMAX, they had that poster up.
And it was also in Times Square on a billboard.
Yeah, I got a picture of it up on the big billboard in Times Square, which is probably, like, I don't think that'll ever happen again for any reason.
It's one of the craziest things to have your art up there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's a
luckily
cool
your
moment.
brother lives in New York and was able to take a picture of it.
And I actually got up on there for like a movie. None of that NFT bullshit I see people posting. Like, there's my artwork up in Times Square, like part of like an NFT collaboration from some
I didn't
people
know
who are
that.
smuggling drug money through crypto.
I didn't know they were putting NFTs up there.
No, I don't think they were putting them on the big billboards, but I remember seeing like a bunch of artists doing that.
Jazz also asks, I'm working on a piece that needs to be 80 inch by 60 inch. Working on a file that size would be killer on the computer. Any recommendation on how to approach?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few ways of doing it, but the one way that my computer right now is very fast, and I don't have a problem running like giant files. But when I didn't have that, and I would like when I worked on Logan, I actually didn't have a super fast computer. So what I had to do to really finish that thing in time, I had to render it in pieces. So I would like break it down into sections. I'd be like, okay, here's like 15% of the poster. Let's just crop this out, save it as a different file, and then render that whole thing up. And then just kind of, go from there. Like, I just did that in sections and then dropped them all back into one big master file. And that was that. But I had to work that way. Otherwise, it just took forever. Like, my computer would lag. It was real crazy. And yeah, that was like the quickest way I found to work around it.
Is this guy from something?
No, I'm just making him up.
Mm.
Do you like it?
Mm-hmm.
This is the
I like
thing.
his little whiskers
I changed it to like the pencil version.
that I was telling you that I liked, or
Yeah. So I'm just kind of like rendering it up now.
oh my god. Riley said, I was thinking of trying edibles. I'm 30 and I've never toked a single jazz grass.
I mean, it's nice if you don't want to do anything. You just want to like zone out.
Yeah, it's also one of those things like we never smoked weed. It's not like it's something that we were super into.
No.
I mean, you want to know what made me take it for the first time? My gnarly ass burn from the instant, like my 3rd-degree burn.
Oh, that's right. Huh?
That's the first time I took it because I was in so much pain, and
Yeah,
we were
Dan
so
had 'em
like
for
sleep. And so
sleeping.
he just came. He was like, he gave me some of that, and then I was like, oh, this is nice. Like the pain went away. I felt fine. I was able to sleep. So, yeah. Riley, I thought you were a lot younger than that.
I mean, the other thing is like, I don't know. I wasn't like big into them, not like as a like just the concept, because so many of my friends growing up that I would like be in this super druggy house, and just it made me sad to see them just kind of like never doing anything with their lives. So I think that kind of scared me away from any form of drugs, like most of my life.
Yeah.
And I actually do think it would have been pretty bad for me as like a teenager.
Yeah, I mean, I think
So I'm
discovering
glad I
them,
never did it then.
right? I think discovering them now, when we're older, has been like completely different.
Yeah, like
Completely
having
different.
a career.
Having a
Having
career, but also
something going
having like
on.
a space where you're in your own home. You don't really have like that urge to go out. Like, I mean, the most we do is we go out to a restaurant and we go to Dave and Buster's. You know, it's like we're playing arcade games. We're not like going out partying. You know,
Diablo.
we're home by like 11 at the latest.
Play Diablo. Watch guys play dodgeball against unathletic women.
Yeah. watch that guy show us his favorite mangaku.
Yes.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, but I mean, I feel like 30 is a good age to like try something like that, you know? I mean, other benefits, as long as you're not getting the munchies, like fewer calories than alcohol, no hangover, you sleep pretty well, whatever, you know? I know some people get paranoid on it, so just be careful. Mooney says, oh, sorry, I skipped one actually. I skipped 2. EJ Fudd says that story reminds me of when I took a girl out for breakfast and she thought a carafe was her cup. That's hilarious. We went to a really fancy restaurant, and I had ordered tea as my drink because I was like, I don't want to drink alcohol. It's like 20 courses of food, and it was so filling. And I mean, it was a fancy restaurant. Like, we felt so out of place. Like, we felt like little kids pretending to be adults. That's how fancy it was. It was just so like out of our realm.
Yeah, it's the only time I've really felt like
Imposter syndrome.
imposter
A little bit.
syndrome.
Yeah, it felt like we
"Uh-oh."
put on our like parents' clothes and got dressed up. Like, I felt like I was probably wearing a suit that was like 10 times too big,
You know what
even
it
though I
feels
wasn't.
like? It feels like that scene in like Mission Impossible 3 where I put on a mask of somebody else and kidnap them in the bathroom, and then I try and make believe I belong at the party afterwards. Hey everybody,
Yeah.
what's going on? It's
If
like
it was-
I'm not here. It's not me. I shouldn't be here.
It was a lot. And like, they were so nice. The staff was so nice, but it was, I said so many stupid things. Do you remember? What did she ask? She was like, "Oh, is it getting cold?" And she was referring to my tea, and I said, "Yeah, I'm a little bit chilly. Can you turn the heat up in the restroom?" I didn't say that, but I just said, "Yeah, I'm a little bit cold." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Huh?" She was like, "Your tea? Do you want me to replace it, refresh it?" And I was like, "Sure."
Well, that's a crazy. That place was crazy because that's we went to Per Se, which is just stupidly expensive. But yeah, we didn't have like a ton of money when we went. We just were like, let's just be completely irresponsible and
We didn't
eat
have
at
kids
the
either.
most expensive restaurant
Yeah,
and just whatever. Who cares about money? That was our thought.
it's fun.
So then we went, and yeah, it was like. It was brutally expensive. We had to dress up. That was like part of like the thing of going there. And then,
Like
It
you had
was-
to be in a suit and tie.
It
Yeah, that was the
wasn't-
dress code.
but I thought like going into it, like I had been to restaurants where they do like small plate tasting stuff. So I was like 19 courses, like that's a lot, but I guess it's not like so crazy if they're tiny plates. And then they started bringing out food. And because it's so fancy, I was like, no way is it going to be like
Full.
gorging yourself on food. It was absolutely like if you've ever seen the show Man versus Food, like it's probably the most food I've ever eaten in my life.
If you're in the Discord,
Was at that place.
go look at the Secrets channel, and I'll tell you a story about that restaurant.
It was shocking. I didn't think that it would be that bad. Like I thought like the food was so good, but it was like
It was just too much. I couldn't even focus.
But
we couldn't think.
because we were trying to be like we belong. We ate everything, and I almost like threw up after we left that place. I was like, I can't leave here. Like I'm going to have diarrhea. Like I'm going to die at some point. Like, if we try to get up and walk away from this table, like I am a ticking time bomb.
Manser says, "Hi, Dave and Kim. Dave, is there any movies, past, present, or future, you'd love to paint the poster for?"
I think I'm kind of like, I don't know. When it comes to likenesses, I'm just not crazy about it. So I like doing movie posters, and I'll do more if I'm offered that. But like, it's not something I'm actively seeking out. And I kind of, I don't know. I ended up making like a weird corner for myself where like I took on very complex like compositions and things for jobs. Like I decided I'm gonna be the person that does these big montage-y posters and things and difficult kind of like actor referential stuff and whatever. And I became like somewhat known for that for like a little bit, and that was both a good thing and kind of bad because I was like, I don't want to do that forever. Like I don't want to just be that person. So I kind of like actively avoided doing a lot of that work because I just didn't want to keep being known as like that person. Like the money's really good, but like I don't want to do that forever because you just end up dealing with lots of actors and their agents and the director and
I
the
thought you were going to say, and their
producers.
egos.
And they all have like a very specific way that they see themselves. Like it's not even so much like what do they literally look like, it's like how do they perceive themselves in the poster and marketing materials. It's like,
One of the best feedback that you got was from Hugh Jackman.
yeah, saying
See?
I look like I've taken his shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was funny.
I know, that's what I mean. It's like the
Yeah.
best. It's so funny.
Yeah, like that didn't put me off of it. What put me off of it really was just like the short deadline mixed with how accurate you gotta be.
The realism, yeah, like the accuracy.
I just felt like I wasn't good enough the whole time. Like I watched like Drew Struzan do it, and he's like tracing photos and stuff. You know, like projecting or whatever he does. I forget exactly. And like I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to do like a Noriyoshi Orai style movie poster where clearly he gets like some stuff wrong, but it feels, you know, it feels very alive because of that. Like it has a lot of his touch to it. So that's kind of what I wanted to be. I wanted to be like that, but then I realized like I couldn't do that, that I needed to be super accurate and I couldn't get things like kind of wrong. So it's all very complicated, and yeah. If I were to do a movie poster, it would be for like a movie by aliens for aliens with no actors in it. If it was just a bunch of, if it was about a, you know, high school football team who had to play football against a team of zoonoids on the other side, and they needed like an 80s movie poster, I would do that. I'm only saying that because that's a poster I've sketched out before.
Mooney said that he said, man, I like edibles, but I accidentally took 2 for my brother the other week and had a bad anxiety attack. I thought they were just regular gummies and chomped both. Nope. Yeah.
That sucks. I think I had an anxiety attack or a panic attack or something yesterday, where like my whole chest got like.
No, on your birthday.
Oh, right, on my birthday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Right. Yeah, so like my chest tightened up, like it wasn't like my heart, but it was just like everything got sucked to like the center, and I just felt like crazy pressure, and then I just had to go to sleep. I was like, God, I don't know what to do. I was like, I have to escape this somehow. I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's on parenting. And that's on having back to back meltdowns. And then I had a meltdown. 2 days in a row.
Yeah, we've had a wild week.
Yeah. Hey, Dan's here. Oh yeah, I forgot your cousin's bartender there, huh? I think that happened like a couple years after we went. I remember you telling us about that. Do that, please, about the Alien movie poster.
I know,
80s,
I've thought about
80s
that.
football.
Like, now that I'm doing this sort of style, like that would be cool to do.
Manser said, we need another Ninja Turtles movie, but just like the original, no CGI. Dave should do the poster for that.
Yeah, I don't really like the way I did the Ninja Turtles, so I mean, I would be down to do it again. I would just need to change it up.
You have a little bit more say. EJ Fudd says, have you guys ever done mushrooms? Is actually really great with the right dose. It opened up my mind in a way where even when sober, I could just close my mind and see what I wanted to see. Interesting.
I mean, we're planning on it.
Yeah, one day. I think there's a lot more logistics when you're a parent. Like, you know, making sure that they're safe and they're with somebody and all of that, just in case, you know?
Yeah.
Hello, my name are Tom. Sup chat, sup Dave and Kim. Hello. Dan is awesome too. I agree. Did I miss anything that you guys were talking about?
What, before you were here?
Yeah, before I had to go up 3 times.
No, not really. I was just kind of answering normal questions. Yeah, I've just been trying to get down like a cool painting style. I'm actually glad I chose to do this on the stream because I like how this is coming out now. I'm getting some good painting going on in like the hair here. It's starting to feel like way more real.
Riley said, yeah, with your kids, you got to give them way less mushrooms.
It's true.
And Dan says, me and Dave are waiting on some big news. And if it goes badly, I might just try every drug. I'm going to get you some ketamine, okay, Dan? Get you some K-hole. That's what they call it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're down to go meet some shamans and travel to see the elves and all that stuff.
You want to hear something crazy? There was an ad on TikTok about this service that guide you through a high.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like, it's now being advertised on TikTok.
Huh.
Isn't that funny?
That is funny.
Dave and Dan, do you guys ever have breaks in your workload? Or is it just constant since you're both very established now?
Well, I've been working like constantly for stuff. Dan just jumped back into doing like a bunch of work, and he's super busy right now. But yeah,
Well,
uh,
he was also doing other stuff,
yeah, he was doing like other things.
like helping his dad with his like restaurant and the planning and the zoning and all that stuff. And then his house was being built, so he was moving from
Right.
state to state, and he was helping his mom with stuff. Like he had like a lot of other things. Luckily, he has like a good financial stability, so he didn't have to like worry about hustling for jobs too much.
Yeah, and we got
But
other stuff going on too. Like we
hmm
don't just do work. Like we got Steve, and we got, you know, our book stuff and other things that we're
hmm
working on that we can't talk about.
well, that's the other
But
thing too.
that was
Dan
like
was also
most
doing
of
like the
it,
book
was like the
stuff.
stuff that we can't say. Like a
hmm
lot of stuff we can't talk about at all. Is like what we've been doing behind the scenes for like years.
Riley's suggestion to Dan is get on that Russian crocodile. Right? Remember that
Yeah,
one?
crocodile.
That stuff looked terrifying.
It looked like hell.
Yeah. Fuzzy says, yeah, kids have a weirdly low tolerance for hallucinogens for some reason. Well, let me tell you something, okay? Our 3-year-old, who's going on 4, has been waking up every single night in the middle of the night, turning on his light and just being delirious. So he does not need any hallucinogens. He is
No.
already on that trip. Doesn't know where he's at sometimes, starts freaking out. He starts like, I don't know. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's too much. Can't wait till this is over.
I know. I hope that this isn't like the beginning of something, you know?
Yeah.
I 100% agree with the logistics of doing shrooms. I don't have kids, but even then, it's always something I respect and never party with. Okay, have you seen those ketamine ads? Absolutely wild. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. It is an ad for. It's not like an ad for the drug. It's an ad for somebody to help guide you. It's like a service to help guide you through a high. And I don't know if it's like specific type of high, but it's like the weirdest ad. And I was like, is this real or am I high right now? Like, why is this being advertised? You know? What Cintiq do you use? Someone asks.
I use the Cintiq Pro 32, which is a huge Cintiq, but has all kinds of pixel issues with the screen getting all stuck and, you know, red and green dots all over it. So I wouldn't suggest it. I don't know how good the new one is in terms of longevity, but hopefully it's better than this. But anyway, I was going to say I have my to-do list right here. I know you can't see it on that little camera, but I got let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 jobs. 6 jobs with like multiple things to do for each one. I mean, thankfully actually, no, that's not true. I have 7. And then Patreon. 7 jobs in Patreon. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. It just happened.
Did you have what you call it?
What?
The lunar one?
What?
The
What are you
lunar
talking?
job? Is it on
Oh,
here?
yeah, it's on there.
Okay. I couldn't see it. Asea Spadez says, hey Kim, where's the best place to get some fentanyl? Apparently anywhere. Apparently everything's laced with fentanyl now. Anywhere. Everywhere and anywhere. I don't know. People are nasty with fentanyl too. Like when I was working in a pharmacy, people would come up with their like fentanyl lollipops, and then you want to hear something really gross? Fentanyl's like a patch. And like when you apply it in the hospital when you're a nurse and you're giving it to the patient, you have to wear gloves because it's so potent. Like the medicine's on the patch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like an extended release, so it releases over time, right? Like it's not just like a one and done, you just absorb it and then it's done. It goes over like, I don't know, 12 hours or 24 hours, something like that. People would take those patches and lick them after they were fully absorbed, or they would take them off and lick them to get like a like a quick boost of a high. Isn't that disgusting? People are nasty with fentanyl.
Man, it sucks being addicted to that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Luckily, yeah, Dan said that his mom getting cancer knocked him out of freelance. She's in remission and she's doing well now, which is good. Fingers crossed that it stays that way, you know? All my middle school friends are total lightweights. It's a real buzzkill. That's what Fuzzy says. I mean, that's what Riley said. Fuzzy. What? My eyes hurt for some reason. I feel like everything's blurry.
Mm-hmm.
I think this may be the only chat where I will hear about the logistics of shrooms. Always happy to be here. I did have a friend who was like, she's 10 years older than me, and she was going to take her husband on this whole spa shroom vacation for his birthday. And it's like you go out in the middle of the desert in Arizona somewhere. And she was like, I was going to ask you. But then like her kids got sick and then a bunch of stuff happened and they had like her mom had surgery. So she had to cancel the trip. And I was like, oh, that was really nice. Dan says, if you want fentanyl, just come to where I live and start flipping over random rocks. It'll be there. Pretty much. Do you live in Willy Wonka paradise for grown-ups? No, Dan does not live in a Willy Wonka paradise. Dan's mom is in remission right now, so she's doing well right now. Last I talked to Dan, and last I talked to her. But scary thing. I have a cousin whose wife is only a couple years older than us, and she's like on her second round of cancer and going through chemo again. And it was only like she was only in remission for a year.
Yeah.
Not even, maybe. Like, how crazy is that?
It's brutal.
Like, cancer free for a year.
You hear about the AI stuff they're doing where they're gonna make it so like cancer cancer diagnosis is streamlined through like AI. Like they'll be able to diagnose cancer more like consistently in people, and you know, have less of like any sort of like
has anyone asked AI what's the cure for cancer?
I think it just says cash
money. Scunch says, hello Kim, Dave, Dan, I hope you are all doing well so far. So far? As in, you want us to be doing bad later?
We're doing good.
We're doing good.
Really excited for Diablo 4. I'm gonna get my sorcerer tomorrow. Gonna do a Hydra build.
I'm gonna be a sorcerer. Should we both be sorcerers?
We can switch off.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna be a sorcerer and a druid, I think. I want to do both if we have time.
Okay. Gray Blood says, yo, off to work in a second, but wanted to stop by.
Hey.
Whitney Mish, hello everyone. I meant to be here sooner, but I accidentally watched 15 videos about chess, which I don't play. Sounds like a you problem. Sounds like ADHD.
It's cool.
Just going down those rabbit holes, you know?
I do that stuff. I'll just listen to things forever that I have like no reason to get into.
Just like super interested in something all of a sudden. You're like, this is really, and I don't know when I'm going to apply it because I'm never going to play chess, but now I know how to. I
like the very cringy but entertaining YouTube channel, The Y Files.
Oh,
I get to learn about conspiracies that I don't believe in at all, but I think it's fun, and I want to include some of it in Steve Lichman.
They're good.
But yeah, no, that's been my favorite YouTube channel to check in on.
EJ asked, can you recommend any affordable pen displays? I have a Wacom Intuos 4 and I'm used to it, but I'd love I'd love good actual display. I see Huron stuff,
Yeah.
but I don't know about getting one.
Yeah, I don't know about their stuff. I've never used them, so I know a lot of people have nice things to say. I can't remember if they're the ones who have the Canvas. It's like Kamvas one. They have like a 4K model, I think now. I heard that one's pretty good. But don't take my word for it. I've never used it.
Manuel says, what would you recommend to an artist if a big financial situation comes up and freelance is not enough?
Honestly, I don't know. For me, it was, I think like worst case scenario for me, this isn't like a helpful tip, but just I had to reach out to friends for help on stuff. Like that's happened to me in the past. But most of the time I plan so ahead that even if one job fell through, I have like 2 other jobs at least. But as far as like sudden jumps where it's like, yeah, you owe a bunch of money to something, all of us like medical bills or whatever, I don't know. That's the hardest part about freelance. It's like unless you have like really good insurance and everything else, or some sort of job that supplements all that stuff, it's like where you have paid time off and all that, it's like, yeah, it's really hard. That's kind of the gamble of freelance, is that you try your best to have as much saved up on the side as possible, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, I do try to plan for those things. Like make sure there's a bunch of money in the bank if I can. But that's only after having a career for like,
18 years.
Like 17, 18 years, whatever. It's like I've had a ton of time to work that up and get a name for myself in the industry. Yeah, it's not easy.
Brandon Hansard says, this looks like Frieza's annoying and more successful rich cousin.
It's true.
I don't even know who Frieza is.
In Dragon Ball Z.
Over my head. Who knows? You might as well have said anything. Still don't know. All I know is Goku.
Who are the other characters? What's the green guy's name?
Is that a Ginyu? Is that the one that you were doing?
No, the green guy, like Goku's friend. He has like a.
He has a green friend?
He wears like a turban and a white cape.
Oh, is that Vegeta?
No.
Oh, I just know these. I've heard these names.
I just like having you guess these things. What do you think his name is?
Gohan? I have no idea. Those are like the only names that I've heard.
His name begins with a P.
Pi.
You got it. His name's Pi.
Poop. Pee hole. What is it?
Piccolo.
Oh, I have heard that one. You're right. There was one more somewhere in my memory.
Okay, what's the Star Wars movie that's the last of the initial trilogy?
That is such a confusing question.
The first trilogy that came out. There was 3 movies. What was the last one?
I don't know. I don't even know what the first one was. Star Wars, the Emperor. The Emperor of the Night.
That was, yeah. That's what it was. It was Star Wars, the Emperor of the Night.
Star Wars, the last of the trilogy. That's what it's called.
Well, you know that there's Jedi.
Yeah, Jedi's Revenge.
Close.
Jedi's Return. Revenge of the Jedi? I have no idea. I no idea.
This is how I bully the popular girl with my friends. She doesn't even know. She doesn't know.
Sorry for embarrassing you, miss.
Look at this dork.
I don't care. I think it's funny. Oh, Dan said, I told some friends they could use my house for a party 5 months ago, so this weekend I'll just be in the basement hiding, playing my necromancer, listening to the fun.
Yeah, you see, Kim got pretty close. She did the original title.
I did?
Return of the Jedi, yeah. Revenge of the Jedi. Can you believe it? Can you believe Kim found the original title on her own?
I can. And this is the thing. I know we've had this conversation before, and
yeah,
I
that's why I was
cannot. I
calling
cannot
back to it.
remember it.
So now that you know that, well, I mean, you're reading the chat, so maybe you would just know now.
I'm kind of behind though. I was trying to look at what.
What's the second movie?
Okay, so the first one was Return of the Jedi.
No, that's the last one in that trilogy.
Oh, okay. And the second one is that one The Empire Strikes Back? I was trying to read your face. I felt like
The
you were
Empire
waiting.
Strikes.
I felt like
Yeah, you got it.
I
It's the
feel
Empire.
like you were waiting for more. Is that what
I
it
just
is?
like that you stopped at The Empire Strikes.
Okay, it is back.
Yes.
Okay,
And what's the first one?
Star Wars. It's just called Star Wars. The original.
That's what it is. It's called Star Wars the Original. Even though it was the first movie that they made, they named it Star Wars the Original when it first came out.
Kim, so Rashanta says Kim doesn't like anime. I do. I'm really bad with like names of certain things. Like typically it's like names of actors and stuff. I don't really know. Like I honestly and wholeheartedly thought that Hugh Jackman's name was Jack Human for a long time, but when I said it in my head, it was Hughman, and Dave thought I was saying Jack Human, like a person, like a human being. So,
Yeah.
I'm just really bad with those names. It's not like
Well, Kim, I mean, I'll give her this. She can watch a movie, enjoy the movie, and then you ask her about it a month later, and she cannot remember any part of it.
not usually. There's only some that
You can
I
be
like.
like, I love this part of that movie, and she's like, what?
When did that happen? Every time it's like new to me. Those things just don't stick. But you know what I can do? I can pull out any recipe from my butthole, pretty much. Like, there it is. You know, I can cook anything from memory for the most part, or I could figure it out. So all that's in there. Okay, all my nursing stuff in there. Entertainment. It's just what it is. It entertains me for that moment, okay? And then I'm done. I don't have to apply it to anything, so I don't hold on. I don't like retain that information for whatever reason. Sorry, I'm like skipping some stuff because I was lost in the guessing stuff, so I'm like trying to keep up. The Empire Strikes Again. Is that what?
What's the main character of My Hero Academia?
Deku.
Hey, there you go. You remember that one?
Yeah.
What's his rival's name? Or his best friend rival?
Bonchan.
Like the chicken place?
Oh, I forgot. I don't know.
You got me because I think you threw me a bit because you got the first part right.
Oh, it's Bond something?
No, it's not.
Oh.
But you got Deku right. Then you got Bonchan. I think Bonchan being so wrong just hit me. God. Oh, Bonchan. Good guess.
Someone said, huge jacket man. I don't know. What is it? It felt like that sounded so right to
It's
me.
like Kachan.
Okay. I was pretty close.
Yeah, Bonchan. Similar vibe.
I get the feeling she would confuse Kim Jong-ji with Kim Jong-un. No. I know my Kims. I know me. Kim, stop trying to impress us with your practical skills. Kim, want to make onion goat cheese tart tatin with me this week? All right, let's make that. Actually, you know what I was gonna make? I was gonna make this caramelized onion poppy seed babka. We had some delivered for Christmas, and I think I found a recipe for it. And I was like, I can tweak this. I can make it. I think it'll be good. Imagine being good at making food instead of being good at recalling pop culture trivia. Lame. I know, that's funny. I actually thought about that because my cousin was like, her and her husband, they were doing trivia nights, and she kept asking Dave and I to join. And I was like, it would just be Dave participating. Like, what am I going to bring to the table? You know?
And even
Bonchan, that's what I'm going to bring to the table. Bonchan.
Too much confidence in me too. Where I was like, I am interested in history stuff, but only like a very specific lane.
Yeah.
I'm like, take me out of that. Like, I can do like some stuff, but if you try to get me to do like specific dates and shit, like, I don't know. I kind of follow like trivia. I don't know. I don't think I'd crush that. I'd be all right.
I know, we would just be there like this. I mean, were we supposed to like slam dunk this for you guys? I don't know what you wanted from us.
Especially people who take trivia seriously at all. I don't want to let the team down.
EJ Fudd says, public service announcement, don't eat green potatoes. I've been eating them and it gave me eczema.
Cool.
I'm thinking it'd also make you like super sick.
Just famine. Potato famine stuff.
Dave and I, we were like joking about different things that I could do, like trying to describe a plot of a movie to see if I could get other people to guess it, but based off of like how I remember it. Or like trying to describe it with the actors and actresses without using their names, because like I wouldn't even know their names. What was the other one that I think he wanted me to do like reviews on video games in my fob voice.
Yeah.
We talked about all these dumb things.
I was saying if you wanted to do something viral, that's what you'd do. You do your fob voice. You dress, you play the part in a TikTok or whatever, and then you review video games.
I think we should.
They'd blow up. You're good at improvising in that voice.
Well, it was really funny because Dan was sending me voice notes and he was in his sick voice and he sounded like Kratos.
Yay. There you go.
So then I just started talking back to him in my fob voice.
Yeah.
I was like, here you go. Here's my impression.
Kratos talking to that voice is very funny.
Manser says, Dan, I love Boston, was there back in 2014 and met Dave on that same trip at NYCC. Nice. Dan says, he's asking us, do you want to schedule a Twitch stream where we all get high or drunk and play Quiz and Dragons? I don't even know what that is.
Let's
but
do it.
Yes. A Twitch stream?
Absolutely.
That'd be
Let's
fun.
do it.
Do I have to answer all of them first?
It's a good idea because it's Quiz and Dragons, and it's this old Capcom game where you play like trivia against like mythical creatures, and it's all trivia from like the early 90s, but because it's like trivia in the early 90s in a Super Nintendo game, I think it's Super Nintendo, maybe it was actually like a arcade game, but anyway, you get like trivia from that time period, but then you also get like real old like 80s like TV show trivia and like 70s, because it's like
Trivial Pursuit that came out in the 90s, basically, where it's like old school questions. It's so hard, but it's funny. Just like what it pulls from. Like to see like a skeleton.
But am I gonna know any of them?
Yeah. But to
Sometimes
see
when
like a
you and
skeleton
Dan-
going like, oh, in what recording studio did the Beatles? Like whatever. You're just like, whoa, this is terrible.
Sometimes when you and Dan talk, you guys talk so much in references that I'm like so lost, and I have to like walk out of the room. So I'm like, okay. It's like that one thing in that movie that Kim never saw that one time. Or it's like that thing from our hometown, and I'm like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
But even so, these are things that you wouldn't recall, like films.
Yeah. So am I just gonna be like completely terrible at this? Do we know that I'm gonna be terrible?
No, there's multiple categories. It's not just movie and TV trivia.
Okay.
You're going to be high, so it probably won't matter at all.
Manster says I asked Dave and Kim if they knew what the galloping ghost in Chicago was.
The Galloping Ghost?
I don't remember
Yeah, I don't know.
if I looked that up. And then Dan says it's incredible, so. Fuzzy says this character design is pretty damn cool. I do not need a snack. I don't know if that is in reference to that.
Thanks.
Hey Dave, do you know Jeff Easley?
I know the name. I probably would know like right away if I saw the work. But there's not a lot of artists that I'm like super close to though. I don't talk to a whole lot of people in my field. Not like regularly. If I do have like relationships with other artists, it's like here and there.
Dan said that the game told you guys that Mick Jagger was in the Beatles.
It probably did.
Fuzzy says, if I met Dave in real life, I'd give him a high five and then immediately leave to paint Garfield with the same hand.
It's cursed. It's the black mark.
How many of you guys think about Dave when he's not streaming? That's what I want to know.
Probably, hopefully not a lot. Hopefully nobody.
Galloping Ghost is currently the biggest arcade in the world
Okay.
with 800 plus unique games. They have stuff that never left Japan or the beta version. What? Let's go to Chicago.
Really? More games than Fun Spot, the largest arcade in the world.
That like, oh, that's so funny. Little things that you sit on and ride. Jeff did a ton of old D&D covers apparently.
Okay.
Oh, the snack line is from God of War. Well, you knew that I wouldn't have gotten that, okay? When's the last time you saw Marco?
Good question.
Before we got married.
Jeez.
I know.
Really? That's the last time we saw him? Well, okay. Last time we saw him in person, yes, but we do like
We talk,
video
yeah.
chat.
So last time we saw him in person was in Ibiza? We
I
didn't see
think
him in
so.
New York after that, did we? We saw.
No, that was the last time. We
Yeah.
went on vacation together. Mm-hmm. And then after that, yeah, it was just talking to him and like, video calls, that sort of thing.
Text here and there. I know. I think the last time you guys talked was like before the new year, right?
Yeah, and every time we talk, we go like, we have to stop doing this.
Yeah, we
Like,
have to
both
talk
of
at
us
least once a
need-
month.
We need to talk, but we're very similar in that we just like vanish in work, and we will say the same things and then just never talk again.
A lot of people are saying that they think about you all the time. Definitely all the time. All the time. Dave is love. Dave is life.
Oh no. True. I
feel loved.
Oh, Fuzzy says that he thought of me today and was like, damn, I wish someone in my family was a good cook. True story. I was hungry. Is Marco missing? No, Marco's not missing.
No, he's just working a
He's
lot.
busy. Yeah.
Just eating a lot.
I want the big house. I want the fancy cars. I want the nice watch.
How'd you gain all the weight?
Just eating a lot.
It's just one of the best videos ever.
So good.
That's a reference to a DJ
DJ.
Khaled interview on Larry King.
I use
It's
that
very
for
good.
like everything.
He cuts down everything DJ Khaled saying. Like DJ Khaled's trying to be inspirational about like all
How
this
he- yeah.
fame and money
How
that
he
he's
works hard.
accrued, and then he's like, "How'd you gain all the weight?" Just cuts him off. It's so funny. Just yes, but fat.
Yeah.
Why?
What does any of it mean? Because you're huge. Just eating
It's
a
just,
lot.
my God, what a good interviewer.
Mansfield says they just had the original Mortal Kombat combat cast there this past weekend.
What?
As in the people they filmed for the very first game.
That's so funny.
awesome. That's funny. We should make a pause on the stream to dedicate a prayer to Shrek.
No.
I'm not religious. I love Shrek, not religious. Nothing against him. The Stin says, it's when I'm not thinking about the Raposas. I know there's a stream happening. It's like a spidey sense.
You know, it was one of the most hilarious things. It's like this whole veer into aliens being real.
Uh-huh.
It's been killing me. It's so funny. It went from like, you're absolutely crazy
Yeah,
to believe in
maybe.
aliens, to on the news, some dude going, and the Pentagon has reports that there might be a mothership approaching.
Yeah, that one. That one
He's
is
like,
wild.
Shut up. Don't say shit like that to me. A mothership. Don't say movie shit to me. On the news.
Dan said, can confirm no one cares what you've accomplished if you're also fat. Yeah, I think that's so crazy that they just, it's so, they're almost talking about it like, yeah, it's always been around. Like, you guys are silly for not thinking that it's been around. Of course it's been around. Look at all these videos.
I know, it definitely makes me think something else is happening.
I feel like everyone's being gaslit to be like,
Yeah, distracted.
we've always believed that we've always known that they were there.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Yeah. And then now they're just saying things like mothership on the news.
You can't say mothership. That's like so frustrating. Like, shut up. What? Really? The
Yeah.
mothership's coming?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Talk about
I feel like
motherships.
There's so much behind that. There's so much behind that.
It's just so dumb. It's like
I wonder who wrote it for them.
like delivering that line sincerely is so funny.
Do you guys want to see something cool that I got for Dave for his birthday? The answer is yes. I'm not waiting for an answer. Hello? Hello?
They can't hear it.
I know. It's not plugged in, but this is what I got. I got him a phone. A phone microphone.
Yeah, it's really cool. It sounds like a payphone.
Gives you some of that, like, I don't know what it's called.
TLC.
Yeah. Some of that TLC. You guys can ask me trivia questions if you want, if you don't have any art questions for Dave. Dan says, casually mentioning 70 plus Air Force personnel have been hospitalized by sonic attacks.
I'm gonna be so mad if like they reveal an alien, like a government official talking to an alien, and it's like a bad alien, like it doesn't look good. Like that's gonna make me mad. It's gonna make me mad if it's like bad design. Like even if it's real, I'm gonna be like, oh come on,
Do they
that's
look
what an
like
alien
that?
looks like. Are you serious?
That's so disappointing.
Can you imagine though if like it really did just look like shit, like a Mars Attacks alien just showed up with like big eyes, just like
Gray.
looking
Big
around.
grays.
Not just like big white eyes, like blue pupils, like looking around. That'd be so frustrating.
What if they all look like Blue Man Group?
Just regular people with blue skin. I mean, nobody would believe it. It probably would be something like that. We've been in the ocean for a long time, so now we're blue. We're you guys from the future. It's like, oh, that sucks. It sucks so hard. Why isn't it better than this? I have a feeling it's going to be something like that. Like if it happens. It's just going to be some frustratingly lame alien.
It's gonna be somebody who looks like they're wearing a Guyver costume.
Yeah, go back.
And it's
back
gonna
in
look
the
like a
ship.
really bad costume.
Go
But
find-
that's just how they look.
Go find a different alien. Show me a different one. What do your dogs look like?
Yeah, so the phone is actually a microphone. And it just, someone is like, old-timey phone, a landline?
Yeah, you can just plug it in.
Yep, and it sounds like you're like on one of those like old, it sounds like you're leaving an old voicemail, basically.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's cool. Manuel asks, directioner or believer? I think you mean believer, right?
You said what?
Directioner or believer? Unless, if he's talking about One Direction, like the band, or Justin Bieber. Look, I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's me like completely misinterpreting that because my pop culture references are so narrow, or
I don't know what they're talking about.
Fuzzy says,
I was wondering if they were trying to say like denier or believer.
Kim, can you describe Obi-Wan Kenobi's role in Star Wars?
Yeah.
Wasn't he kind of like a
Go for
guide?
it. A guide. What else did he
Yeah,
do?
didn't he help? He was like an uncle.
What did he do?
He trained Luke Skywalker.
What happened to him?
He died.
How?
Darth Vader killed him.
On what?
Am I getting all of these right? You haven't said no yet.
And where did Darth Vader kill him?
In space.
How? How did he die?
Did he push him off a ledge or something?
How did he die?
He pushed him off a ledge, didn't he?
No.
I don't know. He used his lightsaber.
Okay.
And he cut him in half?
Yep.
No way.
No,
Did he really?
didn't.
Oh, okay.
He cut through him.
Did he really?
And then his robe fell down because he disappeared.
Wow. That's pretty
It's
good.
pretty good, Kim.
Magler says global governments decide to unite to fight against global warming just so the oceans don't rise and make us blue. Yeah, Justin Bieber or One Direction.
Pushed him off the ledge of
I
his
feel like
material form.
I feel like I was like just a little too old to like really fall into either of those. Like I liked both, like they both had some good songs, but I was never like super crazy about either of them. Harry Styles, love him. I feel like Justin Bieber is like a good singer, but he's so gross to me, and he's such a punk. Like he looks so much and acts like, if you've seen like anything of him, like paparazzi, of how he acts, he seems like such a white trash person that I've like encountered in my life. But he can sing really well, you know?
Yeah.
He seems so trashy to me.
Do you know who IG-88 is?
IG-88.
Yeah.
I'm guessing we're still on Star Wars stuff. Is it the red one from that movie or that show that we were watching?
What?
I don't even remember what the show was called. The one where the one where he's like, well, he's an adult.
Okay, so we were watching this show called Andor.
That one.
That's the show you're trying to remember.
Uh-huh.
What happens in Andor? You've seen Andor.
Yeah.
What happens in it?
Well,
don't, I guess. Spoiler alert, everybody.
Spoiler, because I'm going to describe it really well.
To remember Andor. So if you don't want to have Andor spoiled, wait a couple minutes and come back.
So he's looking for his sister, and he goes to a strip club, and then all these guys are like, why are you asking about this girl? And then he leaves the strip club, and then those guys go start crap with him, and then he kills one, and so then it starts this whole bounty for him.
That's pretty good.
And then the whole season, which I don't even think we finished, he's basically going through different motions to try to like stay hidden and protect his like adoptive mom. And it goes back and forth between like his childhood and what he remembers and how he was like taken from his village.
Not bad.
I know, that was pretty good. See, sometimes I got it right. Let's see, Kim, Team Edward or Team Jacob? Edward. Team Edward. But to be fair, I did read the books before I saw the movie, so I had a very different image in my head. I'm sure you're sick of being asked, but any updates on Skull and Shark? No updates.
Mm-mm.
Technically, we all die in space.
True.
He pushed him off the ledge in his material form. So he did fall off the ledge, yeah?
No. Dan's saying metaphorical.
Oh. Do you face towards or away from the shower head when you shower? Both.
Both.
Are you locked into one position?
Yeah, do you never wash your face?
Do you never turn around to wash the back of your head? Rinse it?
Yeah, what part are you ignoring?
Okay, wait. IG-88 obviously is a droid of some sort, right?
Sure, yeah. What kind of droid?
Like C-3PO?
Let's do one that you probably kind of know.
Wait, can I know who IG-88 is?
He's just a bounty hunter droid. It's like a specific kind of like droid. The IG-88s are like whatever, real intense.
Dork.
But anyway, who's Darth Vader?
Luke Skywalker's dad.
Who's that? What's his real name?
Darth Vader's real name?
Yes.
Jack Human?
No, really, try.
Isn't it something dumb?
I mean, kind of. All Star Wars names are dumb. They're all space names.
I'm really trying to pull this out of like some corner of my memory. Is it Shinobi?
That's right.
Darth Vader's real name is...
His name's Shinobi Clunt.
Wait, Anakin.
Hey, there you go.
Anakin Skywalker. I knew it! I was like, did you see how hard I was just thinking? I don't, you weren't looking at me, but I was really like searching in my brain.
It's pretty good.
Thanks. Riley said Obi-Wan was actually crucified by Vader, but good try, Kim.
True.
Frankly, I'm looking forward to Waterworld, the movie, becoming reality with the aliens. Me and Kim are Swifties. Dan, did I tell you that I'm going to a Taylor Swift concert because I went to one before? And it was like, I would, honestly, I would never pay this much money to go see a Taylor Swift concert. The first time I went, it was like, oh, it's going to be this fun thing. And like, it was a present for my mom. And she had never really gone to like a big concert before. So I was like, my other cousin was like treating her mom to it. And then my aunt was bringing her young daughter. So it was like this whole like family bonding thing. Well, guess what? She's coming back. And my cousin's like, do you want to go for my birthday? And I was like, I don't even know if I like Taylor Swift that much. I like it, but like I didn't even know any of the songs she was performing when I went the first time, right? And she texted recently and was like, you guys, and she's excited about this. The concert's going to be 3 hours long. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do that. Oh. I don't know if I've ever listened to my favorite band for 3 hours straight, let alone one person singing. Like, that's so insane to me. And it's going to be live, so I can't fast forward, you know? Kim, since you're a nurse, did you ever see the story about the Utah nurse who was arrested for refusing to hand over her patient's blood sample to the police? Yeah, yep, I did. I saw the body cam footage of that. It's crazy. And the funny thing was, like, she wasn't even the nurse taking care of that patient. She was the charge nurse. So basically she's in charge of the floor that day. She's not the manager, but she's the nurse who's like, will help anyone who needs help. She's running codes if she needs to. She's like triaging if she needs to. She's assigning patients as they are admitted to the floor. She's doing all these things where she's like helping to make the floor run smoothly, where each nurse has their patient assignment. It wasn't even her patient. She was the charge nurse that day, and she got arrested because like there was this whole thing about this officer demanding a blood sample, but that's like against patient rights. And they were like, well, now you're under arrest because you're impeding whatever justice, yeah, whatever they're saying. And it's just like, so, and then they had like a huge lawsuit, I'm pretty sure, but she ended up winning, obviously, because it's like policy and like patients' rights and like privacy rights and all that stuff. I had a patient one time, get this, you guys, I had a patient one time who tested positive for like every drug under the sun, and he had a puncture wound from a stiletto in his groin. And he was I forget what they called it, but it was like basically, his name isn't listed on the board. He's a private patient. Like nobody could call in. He was like a protected patient. There was like a police officer on guard. I think he was going to be arrested after he was like all done with his treatment. But, I had answered the phone a couple of times and people were asking for him. And like, oh, I don't know who that is. But basically he was protected. Only the people who could like, you know, talk to him, help him, treat him, whatever, knew his name. But the whole story was that like he had an escort of some sort, a sex worker, and then he wasn't going to pay her, and so she like kicked him with her stiletto in his groin, and she was like inches away from his penis, but it hit his like artery in his like femoral area, his femoral artery, and so he was profusely bleeding. And the pimp was the one calling because it was a guy who called looking for him. Isn't that wild?
That is wild.
Louis B, I just got here and I'm like, how the hell did he draw that?
I don't know.
Dan knows more about Taylor Swift than I do. He said, hey chat, did you know the red scarf represents her virginity and I hate Jake Gyllenhaal? I didn't know that. Is there another challenge coming up?
Yeah.
We will have another challenge. We haven't decided the date because obviously the end of the month is coming soon. So we're not sure if we're going to start it at the beginning of the next month or if we need to kind of like spread it just because Dave likes to spread it.
Yeah, it'll probably just take a little bit more time, but
It's fine. We'll have it announced, and then we'll see like when it wraps up, depending on the challenge that we decide to go with.
Why didn't she want to hand over the body juice? Because it's against the law. It's against the law to share private information like that. Like, she would have been breaking the law to give them the blood sample without. They need something like either like a warrant for the person's arrest, a subpoena for the blood sample, because that means it's court ordered that she has to do it, or something else. I forget. There's like a whole, and it just depends on like the policies, like of the hospital, and then also the state that they're in. But there was like no court order. It was just a police coming being like, I need this guy's blood sample. I need to see if he was intoxicated while whatever happened. Okay. Do you have a court order? Like, I'm not just going to hand it to you, you know? Oh, apparently there's a YouTube channel that broke it down.
Hmm.
Yeah, the cops had no warrant and the patient wasn't consenting to have it drawn. Yeah. The patient, Hugh Jackman. Yeah. I feel like I've nailed all the questions. Except for I don't know what the original Star Wars or the first Star Wars is called. So it's 1, and then it's 2, the Empire Strikes Back. And then 3 is the Revenge of the Jedi? Is that what it was? Return of the Jedi?
Yeah.
Okay. I said both of them and I wasn't sure which one was the right one. What's the
I
first?
still love that you ended up guessing the original title.
What is it?
Revenge of the Jedi. That's what it was before they decided to make it Return of the Jedi.
Oh, really? That's funny. What is the first one called?
A New Hope.
Never would have guessed it. It doesn't even like ring a bell.
Yeah, I figured.
Been watching a lot of YouTube videos where they break down murderers' mistakes in the inquiry room and how cops can tell they're lying. It feels like I'm preparing for something, just not sure what yet. I want some of that insight, Dan. Spike asks, how can I get that brush?
Brush. There's so many brushes in this. This is Clip Studio brushes. This is Krita brushes and Photoshop.
If you join the Patreon, everything from the birth of the Patreon is still posted, which includes like brushes, like PSDs.
Old processes. And
Yeah.
everything that
Lots of
I've
stuff.
done.
Everything for the last, almost 3 years, right? 2 years? 3 years.
2 years, I think.
Damn.
I don't know. It's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
For $5.
Mm-hmm. Star Wars, The Emperor's New Groove. That sounds about right. Fuzzy says that they watched a video about a girl who gave herself away by stopping her act when the cops left the room, and I was like, psh, I wouldn't have done that. Have you seen there's 2 that I can think of, but there's 2 like interrogation room videos of these girls who had killed their boyfriends, and they sing in the room when they're left alone, and they're good singers, and one of them's like singing Amazing Grace. But she's just like completely calm, and she murdered her boyfriend. And then as soon as like the cop leaves, she's just like drinking her coffee and going, Amazing Grace. And she's just like singing. And then they come back and she's like, so when am I going to leave? It's like, you just murdered somebody. And then the other one, I can't remember what she was singing, but she was like a good singer as well. And she had just like murdered somebody. Like insane behavior. Sociopath behavior.
It's very cool.
Isn't that cool? What would you do?
I'd probably sing like DMX or something like that.
I've seen also interrogation videos of like they're left alone. Obviously they're being recorded, and I think a girl was like trying to do a handstand or a headstand or something in the corner, like some weird, like something really strange. Dan asks me. Max Smith says my ex-girlfriend is obsessed with murder. Was obsessed with murder shows like Forensic Files. Always worried me. And now she's your ex, so now you better be worried, huh?
I just feel like that's super common though. It's like that's the girl code. It's like just into murder stuff.
It is. I listen to like a podcast about like true crime stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. Dan asked me, who is Lando?
Calrissian.
Yep. Well, obviously you know who that is.
Yeah, who's Lando Calrissian?
A soccer player. Probably for Portugal or something like that. I don't know. For Brazil.
You're right.
Lando Calrissian. I have no idea. None.
Who do you think he is?
A soccer player? I don't know. Dan wouldn't ask me about a soccer player. He's probably somebody from like The Mandalorian, which I never saw. Because it sounds like one of those dumb names.
One of those dumb names.
Anakin Skywalker, Lando Calrissian. Who is it? I don't know.
It's the dude who runs Cloud City, of course.
Okay, what's Cloud City? I don't know what that means.
Look, I'm not here to educate you on Star Wars lore.
Okay, is that what it is? I didn't know we were only going to ask Star Wars questions.
Okay.
Dave, have to ask, why the Gilman images on the left of your screen?
Just having like some kind of movie monster there to just look at every once in a while. Just to get an idea of like, is this reading realish?
Whitney says, put true crime in your dating profile. You can thank me later. It's so dumb. Also, my favorite murder is a cheat code. That's funny. And Riley says, stop, drop, shut him down, open up shop.
Yep,
All in caps.
essentially. That's
Can
what
you
I would
imagine
want.
how aggressive that would seem if you just murdered somebody and they knew, and then the cop left the room and you were like, stop, drop, shut him down. Like if you just started going like super aggressive, like in that DMX voice. Can you believe DMX is dead?
Yeah, it's
That's
sad.
wild, isn't it?
All right.
Who's Dengar? A Pokemon?
You're thinking of Gengar.
They all sound so similar. I feel like I'm so close to the answer sometimes, you know?
So close to the truth.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna slow things down now because I'm probably gonna call it on this. I don't really want to like paint this anymore. I feel like I got it pretty far along during this stream.
Yeah.
Let's see what I did today. All right, let's look. This is what it was at the beginning of the stream. This is just his face, of course. And then this is where we ended up.
Dan just asked me, he's just said that he's going to ask a Krull question. And he said, what vision is the Cyclops cursed with since birth?
Yeah, what do you think a Cyclops would be cursed by? Cursed to see.
Fire. A Cyclops is cursed to see
Somebody with two eyes.
double vision for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't like, yeah, I don't know, done.
mean, it's just a kind of boring illustration. I just did it for a test. I just wanted to see if I could bring this to like a render that I was happy with. That's it. It wasn't supposed to be like some really cool thing. It's just a dude. And now I know that I could use this process to paint a big illustration. That's really all I was after. So, feels good. I like it. It's textures and, you know, it works. Values are reading.
He might have a little
Didn't take too
COPD
long.
though.
What?
He might have a little COPD.
What's that?
Chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder.
Oh, yeah.
He's barrel chested.
Truth. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Really appreciate it. I hope all of you are doing well. And we'll see you on the next stream. We do these every Thursday at the same time. So if you're here and you're like, how often do you stream? You can just subscribe to the channel. And I will post up when the next stream's happening, and you'll get a notification on that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
If you're interested in any of the stuff that like Dave posts for process videos or even just like high res images,
Yeah.
Patreon.
Patreon has all of
$5
it. You get
access to everything.
PSDs with all the layers intact, so you can click through everything and see what I did. Look at all these layers I have in here. I make a new layer for everything just for Patreon. So anyway, $5. Come on, $5. All right. See you all later.
Good night.
Bye bye.